Hello and welcome back to the Painted Arrow podcast. We have Devin Cole, myself, Nate Hicks, and two wonderful jet black cups of coffee.
And that's how you know it's Monday.
That are here to help us get through. Quick coffee slurp here.
It's 5 a.m.
So that really hit for me. It is jet black.
Whoa. It's sizzling hot too, like a griddle.
So last episode, we titled it the Coming Home Tour, and that was just kind of a fun way to say like I moved to the area. I moved back home, and I would recommend that if you're kind of invested in our story and our kind of whole, like you've been following us since the beginning, go back and listen to that one. Just to kind of get the vibes, because we were kind of vibing high at the end of like everything happens for a reason, right? Like God had specifically like put every piece of the puzzle in place for allowing this all to happen. Mm-hmm. And so go back and listen to that, because it'll tee up kind of this one a little bit better. But I think on this episode, you and I kind of wanted to discuss kind of the next obvious thing that we've been working on for a long while.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot to do with this building. Mm-hmm. We bought a facility. You said back in February 27th, I think.
We closed on the 27th. Yeah.
And
that's kind of a funny deal how the whole facility even came about. Maybe we should talk about that a little.
Go for it.
So in our small little town where we live and grew up, there is this building that previously was a bar and grill, and then it sold to some different owners who opened it under a new name. And then I think either before they were even able to open it under the new name, or maybe shortly after opening it, there was a fire and it burnt down essentially. So what was left is literally 4 cinder block walls. Like if you're looking at an aerial, it's just a rectangle.
Yeah.
But there was no roof system. All the trusses were gone. Like it literally was 4 block walls with no roof.
You walk in and you look up and there's sky.
That's right. And a big concrete pad inside. And it sat there like that for a good long while. Like I drove by it for a lot of years, and it just would get a little more grown up, and it was just 4 block walls.
And it kind of became known as like this area, like that people would go down at night and like kind of mess around, burn out their car, like smoke a cigarette, like that kind of a place. Like it was just kind of like this nothing burger.
Correct. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. And it was just because it was completely unattended. Like somebody owned it, but nobody was like, there's no reason to ever be there. It was just 4 block walls. So at some stage, a different owner ends up with it, finally puts a roof system on it, like some new, I think he raised the walls 3 or 4 feet.
Basically on top of the cinder block walls, he put stick framing.
Yeah, to go up another 4 foot or something like that. And then put a bunch of trusses, a full roof system on it, new siding, new roof, and a door.
Yeah.
And so now it's a rectangular shell with a roof.
And the inside floor was like all the plumbing and like
the old tile,
and it was bad.
Yeah, so like there's cast iron plumbing sticking out of the ground everywhere.
Because it was a bar and it was like a dance floor, and there's
4 different sections of concrete all broken up, old like turquoise tile in the kitchen and bathroom. So like it was rough. And at this point there was no lighting. Everything was still just torn up inside from when it lit on fire.
Yeah. And so, just to quickly interrupt you, adding in some detail.
Yeah.
We originally, we went down to look at it for the potential to buy it. Well, I guess I did. You weren't with me.
When this owner had it.
When there was block wall. Well, you did go down there.
No, I went with you when it was block wall. And, we never went down there when it was just block wall. We went down.
I did.
No.
I did.
No.
I walked in it and looked up and there was sky.
Really?
Yeah. There was garbage everywhere. Because that's when Bud owned it. And he was like, hey, I got this building. You should go down and look at it to buy it.
No.
Yes.
No, when he owned it, he had already extended the walls and put the roof on, but nothing had happened inside. None of the lights, none of the insulation, none of the drywall.
This is
None of the
way
furnace.
back. When I talked to him, he's like, I own this building. I'm about to do all this 100%.
Okay.
Because that was right when the fire had happened, and there was couches and everything still in this open shell of a block wall.
Huh.
And like he wanted to sell it to us.
Yeah.
And I called you and I told you this, whether you remember or not, like it's just too it was too much for us at that time.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember seeing it then. When I remember seeing it after the exterior had gotten a facelift. The walls had been extended, it had a roof on it, but inside there was no lights.
Correct.
It was literally a dark, nasty.
Yep.
Like all the bullshit was still inside. It just had a roof now.
Yeah.
And that's when we had an opportunity to buy it again.
Correct.
And still was like, man, this needs like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to the point where it's something that you can use.
Right.
Like not tens of thousands, like hundreds of thousands.
But it was funny because this place said facility, we need to come up with like a name for
It's the new HQ.
So the new HQ.
Yeah.
It was like this thing in our conversation of like, we both kept coming back to it randomly and saying that location's great. What if we were kind of like almost daydreaming, like looking at my life, because I still had lived over there in Adrian. I'm like, well, what? Like it just kept being like this, like piece. Like pretend you're doing like an 800 piece puzzle, and it was like that one piece you kept picking up and saying, man, that's gonna look good or something. Like it could look good in there, but you just don't know where it fits.
Yeah, like it looked really good on paper, and like being in that spot would be cool, but it didn't really align with a lot of the other things that we had going at the time. So it was like,
yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just like it's in the small town we grew up in. It's on a busy road. Like it's cool. Like it's a cool spot. So anyway, we essentially passed, I guess 2 times.
2 times.
2 times we passed because we couldn't get there. And at that point, like I said, it needed hundreds of thousands of dollars to turn into something that we would actually be able to operate out of. And quite frankly, like a lot of our cash is tied up in running the business and, building more product and that kind of thing. So we passed a second time, and then a new gentleman ends up with it. And he kind of took it the next stage, like still not a full build out, but like, okay, now it's got drywall walls inside. It's got a new ceiling. It's got some new lights. He put a furnace in there. He brought the well back to life. Still no bathroom, no fixtures, like no toilets and sinks and all that. But like, hey, the well works. It's got lights now. It's got some walls and a ceiling. So I remember. Well, let me rephrase this. So the guy that bought it next and did all of that, remind me, did he list it and didn't have?
No, we were on our way home from our Prime tour.
Yeah. So yeah, we had gone to Prime and G5's headquarters for a tour, kind of discussing the deal, the situation with Bose and that kind of thing with Brian over there. So we were on our way back, and
so to tee it up, like Devin and I, we make decisions like that.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those days where we were feeling good. We usually don't.
That's a really good way to put it.
We don't usually get to spend like amounts of time together.
Not like a full day in the car.
Like, hours of like getting to discuss and like,
yeah.
We do really well in a car. Like on the way home from a trade show, we create product.
We make business.
Yeah.
It could be like a 6 or 7 hour long business meeting, and like things happen.
Yeah. We've literally designed products on the way home from a trade show. So we're on the way home. Basically, we got a 3-4 hour drive, whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't that long.
It wasn't that
2.
long. A couple hours, I think. Yeah.
But it was like one of those days where we're like, we got no room in the building. Like we need to,
we
were all bitching.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, hey, remember that one building?
It was like, hey, I drove by that the other day and there was a bunch of cars out there. And I don't know if that's even still listed, but there was a bunch of cars out there. I wonder what they're doing. And we called our buddy, our realtor friend, Logan. Yeah.
Shout out to Logan.
And we were like, hey, dude, can you find out if that's still listed? And if it's not still listed, like, did it sell or did they just take it off the market, or what happened? What happened with it? And so he kind of does some poking around or sniffing around and finds out that the guy that bought it and kind of did some more stuff inside, he bought it for his own business reasons, and then again, decided like it wasn't going to work for his space. So he was trying to get it the next step forward, like not a full build out, but a next step forward that someone else could see value, and he's trying to sell it. So he had taken it back off the market, but only to like button some things up, and then it's going back on the market. So we're at this point.
And I think like, as it pertains to real estate, like he was kind of trying to get it to the point where somebody could get a loan on it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So previously, like
you couldn't get a loan on that.
Previously when the building changed hands a couple times, it was either a cash deal or a land contract or that kind of thing.
Because there was nothing.
Because there was just nothing there that the bank would loan on.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, that was his strategy. Is like, okay, if I'm gonna one, get a return on my investment, and two, have more buyers be considered.
Kind of a smart guy, really.
It's got to be something that the bank will loan on.
So he did just enough. Like he didn't.
I mean, not even quite. Like maybe. I mean, actually, I think he would say just enough. I mean, we bought it, so
yeah, we bought it on a land contract, but like just enough.
Yeah. So anyway, our boy reaches out, and he's like, as luck would have it, like I'm 3 or 4 weeks away from putting it back on the market.
Yeah.
Like I've got my crew in there, a couple different crews in there, knocking some things out, trying to get it, like you said, to the level that a bank will loan on it, and then we're going to list it. And he calls us back, and we're like, we'll ask him what the price is if he just stops today. Like, well, no, actually, I think we said, can we get in there?
Yeah.
Can we come see it before he lists it?
Because you and I, like, we were worried about him finishing and spending money on something, and he, you and I were going to like tear it out.
Right. Exactly.
And so we're like, we literally in the car, like right now, like what is it?
Can we come look at it tomorrow?
Like, what's the cost right now? And can we look at it right now?
Yeah. And so he was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, here's the code. Go down there tomorrow and check it out. And we walked in and we were like, okay, well, this looks a lot different than the last time we were here.
Yeah.
And like I said, so all the plumbing and old tile and stuff's all still sticking out of the ground because it was all in-floor plumbing from when it was a bar. So there's still cast iron plumbing and stuff sticking out of the ground, but now there's like some walls that have been put up in one specific area. He boxed off the utilities and made that a little utility room, put a ceiling in, did some lights, and installed the furnace. And got the well commissioned. So like, hey, the water's working, but hey, there's no sink or toilets or anything. So, but I remember we walked in, and me specifically, I was like, okay, this is... I'm able to picture this now in a way that I wasn't previously when it was just a rectangle that was really dark with some, like you said, some old couches and old plumbing in it. Like it. Anyway, I walked in. I'm like, huh. Like I can sort of see this.
So I just want to add a piece of detail, not to digress, because you're right on you're chugging down the track right now. But do you remember also like, kind of like, it's funny how, again, like I'm moving my hand up and down like the peaks and valleys here.
Wave, yeah.
But like I remember you and I, like there was a church that we almost bought. Do you remember that?
Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah.
There was a church that was like it was long and narrow, so it was 2 levels. It would
have been a good facility.
And it was like really close in terms of location to old country church. It was kind of like just kind of neglected.
That one had some weird zoning thing with it, though.
Right. The township wanted, like, it would have been a gamble for us to buy it because the township wanted to see a church in there. Anyways, but like we almost turned the sanctuary into like a shooting range, and like the basement had a bunch of offices. It would have been cool. Yeah. But I just remember like that was like there was 2 or 3 other buildings that we kind of had looked at. Do you remember that?
I do. We were in a unique spot. Like we certainly weren't in any position to afford a turnkey building.
Right. No, yeah.
But we're also like we always try to think ahead with the business. And so in the middle of our off season, because this was February timeframe, we were already like starting to see glimpses of us busting at the seams out of the pole barn that we're operating out of, and like in the slowest part of the season.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we maybe ought to start thinking about this now prior to us getting to our busy season. And quite frankly, I'm glad we did, because...
Well, so like, just to lean in, because this matters for the end result of this podcast, but like, as you and I are looking at all these buildings, like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to say it.
It's really important detail.
It felt like you and I were like doing like I really enjoyed going to look at all these buildings.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed going in there, and we're visionaries. We're really good at like. I'm almost like patting ourselves on the back a little too. Like in the middle of the off season for Painted Arrow, it's like not a lot going on.
No.
In terms of like orders come, like, it's just like, so we're like, it's hard to picture when nothing's happening. Like you're like, okay, well, we're setting the stone with Walmart, and we're setting the stone with some of our distributors and some of our dealers, and like we're kind of like getting the traction and laying the foundation for the next sale year. And so like for us to even be like with no money to spend, basically looking in the future and saying, hey, we're gonna try and like
position ourselves to.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a squeeze, but we're gonna do it anyway. Yeah. And here you and I are on our lunch times or whatever, driving around together and looking at buildings and putting on our realtor cap and trying to learn about real estate.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. But I think the other thing to consider when we were looking at all these buildings is at this point, you hadn't really made plans to move to the area yet, which we all now know now that you have. So like,
it's a really important
where
detail.
we ended up was sort of like, okay, we're setting up shop and this is,
it meant, that's a huge thing that we
like right now, like we've been operating out of Dev's pole barn out of necessity. So it's like the business is here, but is that where the business is long-term forever? Yeah, I don't know.
So let me just to give you an understanding, like we live in this beautiful home on a lake at the time.
Yeah.
And you and I go and look at a building and I come home and I'm like, this is how it would look. This is like, hey honey, Devin and I went and looked at this building at this area today. What if we bought it? And you'd like shake the checkers and they'd all fall out and you just try and like line it up. Okay, well that means we'd have to move.
Yeah.
That means that this would have to happen. This is where the kids would go to school at that point because like you'd have to get a new job.
Everything.
You'd have to get a new car. Like
well, you said in the last podcast too, it was a hypothetical that your wife and yourself talked through several times about what if we moved to the area. But then once the building happened, it became real. Like, okay, well then now we actually are because we have to.
Well, it was like when we were doing all these hypotheticals, it was important to me. Like I was willing to do it. I was willing to sell our house and everything. But like when you get married, you ain't just on your own.
Yeah. Well, you
got babies and there's one on the way. Like all the baggage.
It's funny to think back to that because we're going to jump back into the facility story in a second, but we moved so quick on it and executed, and it never really dawned on me that like you were that was igniting conversations between you and your wife. Like, okay, well now we're actually moving because we just decided 10 minutes ago that we're buying this building.
It was much, much, much more in depth though. It wasn't just like that. Like I got to shout at my wife.
Yeah.
Like
But my point is, to me, it felt like any other decision you and I make where we do a little due diligence, but then we're like, ready, set, go.
I was stressing my wife out because I'd come home with a new plan almost every other day, and I'd talk her ear off, and she would just like, nah, who I am. So she's I just got to shout her out for hearing me out on everything, and ultimately doing it. But
all right, so I'm gonna reel this back in. So
that's all important detail though, because that's like that's real stuff, man.
So so we had looked at the facility twice, passed on it. Third time we go back in and we're like, wow, this guy's done some things. Like he took it to a level that we couldn't quite picture. Initially, you kind of interjected and reminded me like, hey, we'd been looking at some other facilities. Now we're finally back into this one. And keep in mind, it's not on the market. Like we were just like, hey, timing's maybe a little more right than it was previously. We have time to work on a building because we're in the middle of our off season. Don't have a ton of capital, but if we can get it bought for the right price, timing wise, this is going to work beautifully for us to get it bought and build it out prior to busy season rolling in.
That's right.
And so walked in, looked at it. I think we kind of discussed, okay, from where it's at today, how much are we going to have to spend to get it to where we would need it? And we kind of started to talk through that. And then we
put together a legit, I remember it. We wrote it down on a piece of paper. Like here, like HVAC, drywall, paint,
lights,
air conditioning, lights,
all of it. Yeah.
Flooring, everything.
Yeah.
So toilets, fixtures.
We rolled the whole thing up, and then we said, okay, well, I mean, it's pretty clear and obvious. Like we know what he bought it for. we had to sort of like surmise what we think maybe he put into it since the last time we looked at it. So like then trying to decide like, okay, well, what is this worth? Because then you're getting ready to enter the negotiation period. It's not even listed, so we have no idea what he wants for it. So we're like trying to decide, okay, if we have to put X into it, we know he bought it for Y. Like, what is our top dollar we're willing to pay for the building to still give us, the ability to renovate it? And then we were able to get like, we sort of structured our deal creatively. In terms of what our offer was. Like we didn't end up even going and having to get a bank loan. We asked him if he would still consider selling it on land contract.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
Why is it like, I just want to like, land contract is a big deal because it allows you to not have to take a loan out.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't, it's a debt that doesn't immediately show up on your, essentially your credit score, or your, like, it's not considered in your debt to income ratio because it's a private loan. It's essentially seller finance. So this guy owns the building outright. He sees something in you and I as young business owners. We make a compelling offer that puts some cash in his pocket now, with an aggressive balloon period. I think we did a 3-year? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's a 3-year balloon. So basically, we agree on some monthly payment.
Yep.
We pay him on a monthly basis. We also, like you said, gave him a handsome down payment. I can't remember what the number were. We'd shared if we remembered, but
yeah,
I can't remember.
I don't even remember percentage-wise, but anyway, we put a good chunk down, and then
we kind of just
well, actually, and I think I'm trying to remember. But I think our initial shot over the bow, he was just like,
no,
I'm good. I'll just wait and list it.
It was a pretty hard shoot.
Like he just completely was like, he didn't even engage on the first one. Cause he was like I put enough into it and I'm close enough to the finish line. Like if you can't get to closer to my number, let's not even talk and I'll just list it. Yeah. And we were like, oh, okay, well it's going to be like that. But still, like, again, we had sort of discussed what's our top that we can pay for it and still have our.
That was one of the times where it kind of changed because you and I were like, no way, we're going over this. This is what it's worth, and we gave it to him. We gave him the offer. Mm-hmm. Like you said, he shot it down, and then we both kind of like took it for a day, and we both kind of stirred on it, and it was like we kind of like looked at it again for what it was. It was a commercial lot. It was in our hometown. Mm-hmm. All these things.
Well, let me back up though. He shot it down, but he expressed willingness in discussing the land contract thing, which changed some things.
Yeah, it was a big deal
because we didn't know if that was even a possibility. Which that had something to do with our number. Because like if we gotta finance this deal, that changes things. So he's like, look, I'm willing to do land contract, but your number's not the number.
Right.
Like, okay. So that helped. I mean, knowing that he was at least willing to entertain a land contract. So
just really quick too, within a land contract, like if we were to default on the payment, right? Let's say we give him $50,000.
Yeah, cash down or something.
We pay him $1,000 a month, and it's for 3 years. And at the end of the 3 years, the whole remainder is due.
Balance is due. Yeah.
So if we were to default anywhere within there with a land contract, like the gentleman who's selling is basically the bank.
Yeah, the property essentially goes back to him.
It would just go back to him. So it's kind of like it's risky, but at the same time, if everything lines up and both parties, like it can be a really good tool.
Yeah. But we didn't even touch on this. So this space built out essentially near just about doubles our operating square footage from what we're in now.
Yeah. This new is like a 30 by 80.
Correct. They're a little. I think it's like 36 by 80, something like that.
Okay.
So still not huge. But it might even. I don't think that's even right. I think it's bigger than that. But anyway, yeah. So it would double our square footage, and we would just have something that's zoned commercial, off-site, not at my house any longer. Like it just. It checked a lot of boxes.
The location was right. So we talked again and we were like, hey, let's give him our best. Mm-hmm. And we did. We
kind of changed. Yeah, we were like, okay, look.
We kind of got an idea of where he wanted to be. We rewrote the offer, sent it to him, and he accepted it.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. There wasn't a lot of back. It was like we came with it first. He said, no, this is where I want to be. And then we came up, rewrote the offer, signed it, sent it.
He said, okay.
And he said, okay. And so
really?
it was a pretty big deal in that moment because like we said, it was like signed, sealed, delivered, stamped. Like this is now going to be like the hub. Like this is where we're going every day.
Be there. Yeah.
And there was a period of time that allowed us to like think about that rather than with when we jumped into the pole barn. It was like, hey, this is square footage, and it was like we were desperate at that point.
Well, I mean, you've said it before, but we were in your mom's. We had stuff in your mom's basement, your house, and my basement.
Everybody was bumping at the seam, so like that was like desperate. Here, let's do it. I'm driving a long way, and like when we said, hey, boom, here's the building, it solidified. Solidified it.
It was the first time we were like really choosing where the business was going to operate. What's that going to look like? Everything else had just been out of necessity. Like, hey, your mom's, assembling some stuff for us. So all the stuff's in her basement. Yeah. And then like, hey, like you said, the barn's available. We have nowhere to go. So that's where we're going.
Yeah.
This was the first time that like it felt like the beginning of the next chapter. Where's the business going to operate?
Yeah.
Where's the HQ going to be?
Yeah.
And so now, like you said, you're able to picture those things. Like, okay, this is our parking lot, and this is our building, and this is where you're going to have lunch break, and this is the spot. This is the new building.
And that was a lot of fun because the dreaming phase, the dreaming and making something out of nothing when it comes to real estate and homes. Like you and I have had a lot of experience in that, and we talked about that kind of off record at some point, but like God, and this is where this story comes kind of like full circle. Okay, leading you up to this point, like we had talked about, now we have this building with road frontage, right? We have this seasonal business that is aggressively growing. It does really, really well.
Really, really well. Yeah.
But it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, but it's so seasonal. It's so seasonal to the point, like in the winter.
Yeah, I mean, who's buying archery gear in March?
Yeah,
no one.
We're boarding up the windows and like turning the heat down to try and save
down the
cash.
hatches. Yeah,
like it's so seasonal, and we didn't know any of this. So like,
I mean, you can guess, but like until you jump in and try to run a successful archery company,
like actually run a business,
you're like, wait,
and hire somebody.
Wait, I got to make payroll all year round. But most of the revenue is only going to happen in the fall.
It just creates it creates
Summer
issues
and fall
around taxes. You don't know how much to save back.
Yeah, everything.
It's like this thing. So we learned like, okay, we going into year 3 or 4. It's like, okay, this really is super seasonal. Like we shouldn't expect a ton of sales in
the spring,
February and April and whatever. So this is where this story kind of comes full circle. Are you ready to kind of?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is a big moment.
All right, guys, this is Nate here. We decided to make this a 2-part podcast, and I know it's kind of a cliffhanger for you, but that's kind of the point. Come back for next week's episode, and you can kind of hear the future for Painted Arrow.